Welcome, my friends, once again to It's Vinylly Mine. So glad you could join us today. And today is special because we have a Patreon pick. Yes, we're going to be doing a number of these. If you want, you can head over to our Patreon page and you too can help us decide what vinyl albums we're going to cover on It's Vinylly Mine, our record album review show. So glad you could join us today as we got a special one here for you, especially for you B-movie fans out there who are fan of Mr. Wynorski's work. Well, we're looking at Not of This Earth. This is put out by TerrorVision Records. They put out some great stuff. And this is TV001. It was released on July 28th, 2015 with music composed, recorded, and mixed by Chuck Cirino. Now, if you're not familiar with Chuck's work, his first work was on Chopping Mall. He's done a number of scores for B films over the ages, including, I believe, Beastmaster 2 was one of his, and just a very impressive resume for his scores, and this is one of his earlier works. Now, Not of This Earth is also famous as the poster that is featured here on the album shows is Miss Traci Lord's first mainstream film after she got out of the adult industry and the whole controversy with her early career. So let's drop the needle and take a look at this album from TerrorVision. Now, as I mentioned, you do have the movie poster here on the cover. This is a really good print. I love the quality of this. They put in a lot of work on this artwork here, the science fiction chiller as it is. And yeah, it pops. It's a really good quality, and I just love the visuals. I always love this poster anyway. So let's, with the help of the bat knife, open this very fresh vinyl, which is still sealed. Yes, that's right, folks. I kept this sealed just for you and for my patrons, so let's try not to stab the actual album, and let's take a look inside of TerrorVision's version of Not of This Earth album. Now, as I mentioned, you do have the poster art on here, but also what do we have inside? It's a gatefold, so, oh, wow. Look at this art right here, folks. This is beautiful. I love this. I was not expecting that inside here. And yeah, this is just gorgeous painting and quality in here. Traci Lord's over here. Some creepy people over here, because if you're not familiar with Not of This Earth, it's kind of a vampire story where alien comes down to Earth and discovers that his war-torn planet can survive on human blood. And so he enlists the help of a nurse, played by Traci Lord's, to help get people so that he can suck his blood, suck their blood. And so we see how those events occur. And so this picture, though, is just, I'm sorry, I just captivated by it. It was really, I was not expecting that at all. So let's take a look at the back cover and see what we got going on here. Well, here we are. We have images from the film that we have here, various stills and promo stills. Traci Lord's. This is actually the last film to feature her nude. After this, she would not do films where she did nude scenes. In fact, she's turned a couple of roles down since then. So, yeah, so in fact, just a side story quick, apparently this film did so well in the video release that they wanted Traci Lord's in another film, but that role would have required nudity, and so she turned it down. So that's just one of the examples. But here we got some great action stills from the film. The title at the top here, also in the font, and letting you know what it is with the title, with the track sequence down here. And yeah, I love the color pattern that we have here. Really, it stays within the theme of the poster, but it definitely has a way for some of this text to stand out. Of course, the credits down at the bottom, and TerrorVision's logo, as well as their address and that on where this was. So yeah, there you go. It's not too fancy, but it's really high quality, and I really dig the color stills on here versus all black and white. So let's take a look at the vinyl inside and see what we got. We've got liner notes in here. A note from the composer. That's awesome. Did not expect that. The very original, this is the video cover, as it mentions at the bottom here, but I always remember seeing the cover of this video on the shelves, the VHS and that. And so, yeah, some great information here and background from the composer. And then on the other side is the movie poster, the one sheet that would have been in theaters wherever this showed, you know, the Grindhouse theaters and that, and a note from Mr. Jim Wynorski, which, as it noted here, was from 2015, which was when this album came out. So they got him to write some liner notes specifically for this with release, which is very, very cool as well. So let's take a look at the vinyl inside here. 180 grams for sure. And this one, yeah, I'm digging it. Instead of having the label on both sides like normal with the track listing, we've got more of that fancy art that we saw in the gatefold here on the album. And it's still got the track listings, but they're both on one side. So that's an interesting choice that they chose to do that with. But as you can see here, a very high quality vinyl. I'm digging this whole release here. This is a fantastic release. And so, as you can tell, it is fresh. I have not listened to this record yet, so I'm going to go over, listen to this soundtrack, and then I will be back with my thoughts on the music itself, as well as my favorite tracks. So stay tuned, folks. And now, here's a little bit of a break.
By order of the Supreme Hollywood, you are hereby ordered to cease revealing spoilers on your podcast, or face the wrath of the great cinematic lord. You must disband your crew and forever close the door to your establishment.
No way, brother. Let me tell you, brother. All my movie maniacs out there know that besides watching movies, listening to soundtracks, and walking my parapet, I love talking movie spoilers, brother. And you're gonna have to beat every movie maniac out there to get me to stop.
What do you mean, no? This is madness! Yeah!
This isn't madness, brother. This is my squared circle. What you gonna do when the spoiler room crew runs wild on you? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Spoiler Room Podcast episode 300 will be on the Special Mark Productions YouTube channel October 6th, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a 2-hour live event where the crew will be going against What the Fuck movies, What the Fuck movie product tie-ins, and whatever else comes to mind. There will be a live chat so you can interfere with the match whenever you want and ask questions or just say, what the fuck. You can also find a link to the event on specialmarkproductions.com. So mark your calendars and prepare to take a seat in the spoiler room, where the conversation is fresh, but we do spoil the movies.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us here. Just got done listening to this score, and let me tell you, if you are a fan of the electronic synth orchestral scores, orchestral in quotes, but if you're a fan of that type of music, you're going to want to check out Not of This Earth. This is a wonderful synth score put out by Chuck Cirino. I loved every track of it. It was like an amusement park for your ears and took me way back to those simpler times in the 80s and the other scores of past from B movies. Now, some of my favorite tracks, well, I actually honestly enjoyed this entire score, but if I were to pick out a few tracks, the main titles for sure are very, very solid. It really sets the tone and gives you that spirit of what type of film you're in for, and I really enjoyed the main title sequence. I also liked Pound of Flesh. That's an exciting track as well, and man, the final track on here, which is a longer track, Here Lies a Man, end titles. that is just, I could listen to that one again and again. And the quality of audio on this vinyl is just top shelf, folks. Very crisp, very organic sounding. TerraVision did a great job. There's not a flaw in a single groove in this pressing. So yeah, I really loved that as well. And it's just a fun score and a great album here put out by them to have on your shelf. It looks great, it sounds great, it's everything you wanted in a release like this. So good job, TerraVision, and I highly recommend it. And so there you have it, folks. Here you have a score that, I think is worth your time if you like that retro synth style. I was reading up on the liner notes. Apparently, it was recorded in like 2 weeks by the composer out of his apartment. It was just some simple equipment. And the track that I did enjoy, apparently he did go back and get to play with it a little bit, but it still, you can't tell. The overall body of this release really is worth it for any collector out there. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about this release. If you do have Not of This Earth from TerraVision, I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you thought of this release. And don't forget to head on over to our Patreon page, where for a very little amount a month, you can help choose what we review here on It's Vinylly Mine. Because remember, it's not yours, it's Vinylly Mine, and I'll see you on the flip side.